Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. The truth about socialism, that's the subject of tonight's Waters Words. There was a big blow-up on The View this week. Meghan McCain and Joy Behar in a shout fest over socialism.
Think about it for a second. Medicare, Social Security, garbage collection, the post office, the library,
I agree with you.
That's all.
Well, I agree with you because we have.
This makes my head explode. Which, by the way, I hope Democrats do run a democratic socialist.
Do you hope that we win? Do you win the Democrats?
No, because I think you'll lose spectacularly, and then I will look forward to election night when I finally get to tell everybody I told you so. If you end up running a radical. On your tax form, I think you should start paying the amount of taxes that every socialist in this country thinks you need to. Because if you think the government is so good at spending money, look at the VA.
No,
because it is dangerous.
I just told you several.
Passions are running high because a socialist rising star knocked off Pelosi's protege and is sucking up all the oxygen in the Democratic Party. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stumbled through weeks of gaffe since her primary win and is being forced to defend her socialist brand.
This socialist label is something that I think the media cares more about because I don't knock on a person's door and is like, hey, let me tell you about socialism. Like that's
that wouldn't
not how I campaign.
Yeah.
If Fox News and if media want to continue using this word, they're going to use the word. I think by me saying, oh, no, I'm not, this, that, and the other, it just becomes a distraction.
Now let's look at the facts about socialism, shall we? Venezuela, a rich country blessed with bountiful natural resources, is now a hellhole. Look what its experiment with socialism has wrought. Nearly 90% now live in poverty, starvation. The average person lost 24 pounds last year, and they're not trying to diet. Sick people are taking dog medicine. There's a massive toilet paper shortage, and it's now the murder capital of the world, behind El Salvador. If Democrats want to bring socialism to America, it makes me wonder, do they want to destroy America? Now they're going to say, oh no, we mean Scandinavian countries. That's where socialism works. Democratic socialism, like Sweden. The Scandinavian socialism success story is a liberal fantasy. You know what country's doing better than Sweden? Switzerland, because it's a capitalist powerhouse. Sweden isn't even really a truly socialist country anymore. Sweden was going off a cliff until about a decade ago when conservatives took over and implemented pro-capitalist reforms. Plus, these Scandinavian nations are teeny and homogenous. They don't even compare to America. And by the way, did Scandinavia defeat the Nazis, put a man on the moon, create the iPhone? No, that was America. What are the major contributions to humankind from Scandinavia? IKEA? This Cortez individual says she wants free health care, free housing, and free college. Free health care alone costs $30 trillion. You raise taxes on everyone in America, and that won't even make a dent in paying that bill. And if socialists don't trust Trump, why give the Trump administration more power over your life? You want Trump in charge of your health care. You want Trump as your landlord. You want Trump running our colleges? I thought you didn't like Trump University. The federal government has a hard enough time taking care of our vets, securing the border, and protecting us from hackers. The Obama administration couldn't even launch a website. And you want to give the government more responsibility? So when you hear people talk about socialism, just ask them, where has socialism ever worked? Here with a reaction, the founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, and the host of CRTV's Michelle Malkin Investigates, Michelle Malkin. All right, Michelle, we'll start with you. What do you think about this socialism experiment within the Democratic Party?
Well, I think that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is everything that's wrong with overpriced liberal ivory towers, plus extreme radical identity politics, plus a slavering liberal media advocacy machine that is waiting for the next savior. And Ocasio-Cortez really is like the logical fruit of the radical progressivism that we survived under Barack Obama. I mean, this is the man who said you didn't build that, who at some point you've earned enough money. And so, of course, now we have this progeny, Ocasio-Cortez, who is so economically and historically illiterate, Jesse. And thank you for giving that overview in your opening points there.
You're so welcome.
because you don't get that at most liberal universities. I mean, she is so clueless. This is somebody who graduated with an economics degree from Boston University, she claims, who doesn't even know what the unemployment rate is.
Wait a second, Michelle. Michelle.
Right? Let alone the history of capitalist success around the world.
Wait a second. I did not know that. Charlie, did you know that Ocasio-Cortez graduated with an economics degree?
Well, she must have missed a couple classes.
I think so.
Only in a university could you learn some of the nonsense that she is spewing. You know, I find it funny. If socialist professors really believe the nonsense that they profess, why don't they teach for free? Why do they sell the books back to the kids, and why do they charge so much per credit hour? You know, if they're such benevolent and wonderful, you know, communitarians and socialists, just do it for free. You know, get rid of the profit structure. Be a true example of that which in a Marxist society. But of course, you know, it's really interesting. Those people that hate America, which I believe this is rooted in anti-Americanism.
I do too.
And what's so unique about America, we're the only country in the world, in the history of the world, where even those who hate it refuse to leave. You know, I always notice that the biggest proponents of socialism aren't the ones waiting in bread lines.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of people in Venezuela, Michelle, coming over to this country and advocating for socialist reforms. And, you know, just look at the news this week. You have 4.1% GDP growth, record low unemployment, the EU trade deal starting to move forward, the remains of Korean War veterans are finally returning from North Korea. Things are going pretty well, and it seems like the socialist left wants to stop the progress.
Yeah, that's right. They can't stand it. And so I believe so much of the radical left, which is now the mainstream of the Democrat Party, doesn't only hate America. They hate the fact that we are founded on this principle of unleashing the great potential of hardworking, ambitious people. And under Obama, we had 8 years of wealth shaming and success shaming. And it's only going to get worse under the Ocasio-Cortez regime, which is, again, taking over the mainstream of the Democrat Party. Here's what I want to say, which is very important, because these people are peddling an ideology that is based on dependency and coercion. And these things are the most anti-progressive of values. They're regressive. There are not enough people in the media who want to tell the stories. And I have people all the time over the last 25 years who are like me, who are children or grandchildren of immigrants who love this country because of the potential that it promised them. It was not a guarantee. It was not an entitlement. It was simply the opportunity that which we enjoy. Look, I've been in this business for 25 years. I've started 3 web ventures. I am a proud, unapologetic capitalist, quote unquote, of color. And the only color that we care about, really, of course, is green. Not because we're greedy, but because we're trying to put food on our table and other people's table. I've been able to employ dozens of people. And every one of these businesses is based on voluntary associations of people mutually pursuing their self-interest. That is the beauty of American exceptionalism that people like Ocasio-Cortez have never, ever experienced in their lives. These are people only who have signed the back of a paycheck and not the front of a paycheck.
That's right. And, you know, I think Meghan McCain, Charlie, made the point. If you want to pay your taxes, there's a little box there that you can say check, and you can voluntarily give more money to the government. But just picking up on something that Michelle just said, since Ronald Reagan's election in 1980, 1981, worldwide poverty has gone from like 70% down to 10%. And incomes have risen almost over 100% worldwide. That's not because of the spread of socialism. That is the spread of free market capitalism.
Right. So free market capitalism has been the greatest wealth creating engine in the history of the world. Life expectancy in year 1900 was a little over 40 years. Now we're living late into our 80s. We have an abundance problem in the West. We throw away more food than we consume. We have an obesity epidemic, not a starvation epidemic. Now, mind you, it's very important. You can look at human migratory patterns as the best argument against Marxism. No one ever flees free market capitalism to go back to Marxism. They're leaving Havana for Miami. They're not leaving Miami for Havana.
That's a great point. I mean, that's a great point. Michelle, when you hear people denigrate the American system like Cortez does, When we talked about importing socialism into America, do you really believe she thinks socialism can be successfully implemented in America and people can thrive? Or do you believe, and I'm starting to have my doubts about this, do you believe they want to bring socialism here because they want to slow down America?
Well, yeah, I think that they are, as their ultimate goal, trying to bring down everything that made this country great in the first place. And you can only do that if you are untethered from reality and history and economic principles, how they actually work in real life. And that's why it's such a meme. I mean, it is an internet joke when you have these socialists and you try to argue with them about the real-world, pragmatic impact
let me
of
jump
socialism,
in, though, because
right?
you
They
mentioned...
say, oh, it's not real. Oh, it's not real yet. We're not there yet.
You mentioned a meme,
right?
and I want to show you guys something that's gone viral all over the internet. This woman, I think her name is Stuckey. She's a young conservative woman. She did a parody satire video where she interviewed Ocasio-Cortez, and this thing is hilarious. It's gone viral. Let's take a look, and then we can react.
Do you have any experience that qualifies you for this job?
I was growing up during the Clinton era, and then basically when I was in middle school, 9/11 happened.
Do you have any knowledge whatsoever about how our political system works? Why should voters vote for you?
You vote. It's democratic.
Well, this has been enlightening.
Charlie, that's obviously a fake interview, but the left's going nuts, and they're calling it fake news, and they're very sensitive. I mean, let's just at least be able to laugh at ourselves.
I love Allie. She did a great job there. And look, you actually look at Ocasio-Cortez's real interviews. It's not far off. She thinks the unemployment rate is dropping because people are taking 2 jobs. She thinks that Israel's illegally occupying Palestine. What was the other gem she said the other day? Oh, yeah, socialism hasn't been tried, despite it being tried over 100 times in the last 100 years and over 100 million people dead as a result of it. So,
well, that's why maybe people were confused on the left, because they thought it was believable, because it sounds like a regular interview. You missed one.
Yeah.
There was another one that I want to play for you, Michelle, where she was out campaigning with Bernie Sanders, and she said she wanted to do this. Listen to this.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're going to flip this seat red in November.
Flip the seat red, Michelle. And she can't even get the colors right.
Go for it. And I do want to give a shout out to Allie Stuckey. She's a colleague of mine at CRTV.com, and the insanity around the reaction to that shows you a couple of things. One is the double standards. Of course, they love those same techniques when Stephen Colbert uses them every single week. And they can't stand the fact that conservatives, whether it's Charlie Kirk or me or you, Jesse, or Allie, actually have fun bringing down these people and exposing them for how vacuous and moronic they really are. And so what do you have here? Right?
Yeah.
The bottom line point here, though, is that just like with Barack Obama, they're propping up these empty vessels because it's all they have. It is moral bankruptcy, it is historic and economic bankruptcy, and it's going to fail. Look, the Democratic Party slogan sounds like it's ripped off from Maduro or Chavez in Venezuela. For the people. Right, we get it. We know. Crumbs for the people.
Yeah,
that's what they're really about.
Which people?
That's
MS-13,
right.
Charlie?
Yeah, the MS-13 buttes, is that, the people that they refuse to call animals. It seems that sympathy for ISIS and MS-13 are at all-time levels amongst the now Marxist left. I like to say the Republican Party, we're the party of Abraham Lincoln. They've become the party of Karl Marx.
Oh, man. All right, well, listen, Michelle, Charlie, we're just trying to educate people out there. I don't think a lot of people know about socialism. I don't even think Cortez knows about socialism. Maybe she's watching and she could take some notes. Guys, thank you guys very much.